What's going on, everybody out there in Titans Nation? This is Justin with Titans Tube again, coming at you with a recap and review of what we saw on Sunday between the Titans and the Browns. And once again, joining me, His Highness, if I may be so bold, is Chris Newell from Titans in Truth. Chris, thank you once again for joining me to recap this Week 1 game. Getting a little later on in the week. We're getting late in the reaction game here, but I'm excited to talk about this game with you. What's going on with you, man?
Hey, not much, everybody. What's going on? Greetings from the M-Town, from Memphis, Tennessee. Glad to be here to join you. And, it's a little late, but never a dull time to talk Titans football. And I'm letting everybody know because I've heard some people ask, no, I could never replace the great Caleb. I am not replacing him. I'm just pinch hitting a little bit. This is pinch hit.
This is the second video in a row that I've done with you now, so you could say literally you are replacing him. I mean, we're on a two video streak here. That's getting pretty serious.
I don't know, because Caleb might have something to say about that, but
well, he's out of town. He's out of town right now, and so he's leaving me out to dry, being out of town. So he's going to have to answer for himself there.
And you know what's funny about this? Some fans have asked. They were saying, hey, what happened to Titans Tube? I said, I'll check with them, but I think everything is still on schedule. Everything's still on point. So it's good we got it going.
Good.
So Titans Tube ain't went nowhere, y'all.
Yeah, we're starting slow. We had a slow off season for this channel. We're having a slow start to this Week 1 game here. Hopefully we're going to get back on track, though. But who knows? If we don't, then I'm just going to keep asking you to come on the show, and it'll be we'll just roll like that.
Hey, it will be nothing but a pleasure. I'll be glad to do it. I am here and ready to go at any point in time, and I'll tell you,
what a team
judging from Sunday, one team had a really, really good start to the year. The other team, not so much.
No, that's right. It was a pretty one-sided score, I should say. Titans go in there winning 43-13, which was unexpected on all accounts. But okay, so as we get into this, I want to be clear from my point of view, and in my opinion, the final score I don't think reflected how close this game was leading up to the Titans really pulling away there, because it was kind of a slow, gritty game, which I kind of expected, because I thought the questionable position groups on both teams seemed to kind of be the offensive lines. And so I thought it would kind of be difficult for both offenses to really get into a rhythm. It'd be kind of a back-and-forth field goal battle, which it kind of was until the end of the third quarter, where I think the turning point in the game happened. The screen pass to Derrick Henry. It looked like the Browns had gotten some momentum back. It was a 2-point game, and then right off the bat, first play goes to Derrick Henry, 75 yards for a touchdown. What an incredible play. He was wide open. So shout out to Arthur Smith, obviously. First game calling the plays, big time. He got a game ball from Mike Vrabel, and I thought that was well-deserved. But then after that, it got into the fourth quarter. Titans were up by 9, I think. So the sense of urgency kind of set in for the Browns, I think. Baker trying to do too much, and it wasn't until we started getting those interceptions that we really just started to pull away. Because at that point, there were no turnovers from either side, and that's why I thought that was why it was kind of a tight game. Like, both teams had about the same amount of yards. Obviously, they had the penalties. I thought we should have been up by a little bit more, considering how terribly that they were penalizing themselves. But until they started making those turnovers, that's really when we pulled away in the fourth quarter. And you can see how drastically a game can change off of turnovers alone. Those are my just initial thoughts about the game as a whole. What did you see there, Chris?
Well, one thing that I definitely saw, and I said this on Titans and Truth, which you can catch on YouTube as well. One thing about it is that Baker Mayfield is a gunslinger. And one thing about gunslinger quarterbacks, even though they throw it a lot, they're going to throw some to the other team. And sometimes you have got to be in position to take advantage of that. And that's exactly what we did in that fourth quarter. I mean, Kevin Byard, the mayor of Murfreesboro, once again baited a quarterback into a pick. He basically made him throw it in that direction, and Byers just snatched it.
His pick looked exactly like one of his picks from DeShone Kizer 2 years ago when he had 3 interceptions. It looked exactly like that, where he kind of baited him into the throw. He sat in that zone, and then, he thought he had an open throw, and then Kevin Byard just swooped on over and snatched it.
Absolutely. I can't say enough about the defense. Malcolm Butler, who he should have had 2 picks in that game.
He should have had a pick. Adoree should have had a pick on the first throw.
Adoree should have had one too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, defensively, I think after the first quarter, because I know a lot of Titan fans, after that first drive, you're thinking, oh no, here we go. Yeah. But that first quarter is the first game of the year. They're kind of trying to fill the Browns out a little bit, kind of trying to find out their tendencies, see what they were trying to do. And once after that first score, I think the defense really settled down. They settled down and found their niche. And I will say I did not expect this type of performance out of this particular player. But I got to say, all the rumors are true. Cameron Wake, I think, got with Wesley Woodyard and found the fountain of youth. Because, I mean, he was a terror. Now, he's been a terror his whole career. I mean, he's harassed quarterbacks all the time. Shout out to him, 100 career sacks and a safety that really turned the game on its head.
Oh, so good. Yeah. I was going to say, too, I wanted to point this out. Cameron Wake, especially on that first sack he got, so not the safety, but his first one, the way he, just bent around that, it was their right tackle, I guess, and then he just kept pursuing Baker relentlessly. That looked exactly like another Titans edge rusher, and I hadn't seen a Titans rusher do this since Javon Curse. I think they had that same play style. Javon Curse did that so many times where he just bent around the edge and surprised you with his speed, and then he closed the gap on Baker in no time. Like, Baker tried to escape for a second, but he completely caught up to him in an instant once he got free around the edge. And yeah, I guess he kind of did the same thing on the safety too. So really, both of those things, I had flashes of Javon Curse. I mean, we've had other great edge rushers here, like Kyle Van Den Bosch. Brian Arakpo was good for a handful of years before his retirement. But just that play style and visually seeing the edge rush, it reminded me of Javon Curse, totally.
I definitely agree with that. And, I mean, there were 4 players in particular, and I'm not including Logan Ryan in this one, even though he was very effective with a sack and a half himself.
These corner blitzes
showed up. Yeah. Sharif Finch showed up with one. Jarrell Casey was constantly putting pressure, even though he was getting double-teamed the majority of the time. And even though he didn't register a sack, Harold Landry was relentless on the attack as well. Yep, he really should have had one. He should have had one, but it was called back on a penalty. It was taken away because of a penalty. So really should have been 6. And so, I mean, the outside rush was just relentless. And I had another fan hit me up actually earlier today and said the way all of this is going with, with Casey, with Finch, with Landry, with Wake, I mean, what's going to happen when Jeffrey Simmons is fully healthy and he's in there?
Yes.
I mean,
I was thinking about that too, yeah.
That Titans defensive line is going to be darn near unblockable because it's like pick your poison. Your best bet is you better find Daquan Jones. He might be the only one you could block. Anybody else on the line, you're not going to be able to block him very much. And so with that, I mean, also, Rashaan Evans was getting in on a lot of tackles early. Very impressive outlook by the defense as a whole. And I think they really settled down. Now, they do need to clean up some things. I think the zone coverage, it needs some work because early on, Baker Mayfield was picking that zone apart in the beginning before we really caught on and played some man-to-man. But other than that, I mean, it's always good to nitpick a little bit after a victory than after a loss. So, I mean, there's always ways to get better. But I think as a whole, first off, hats off to the defense of Dean Pease. Incredible.
Yeah. It starts off, with the defense. I thought they set the tone. Well, not initially by giving up the touchdown early, but I mean, this has kind of been a thing we've seen multiple times with Dean Pease, and even going back earlier with Dick LeBeau, is that our defense is capable of making in-game adjustments. Like they'll give up an early drive for a touchdown and look like, oh man, we're in for a long game, and then they'll clamp down and really shut down the opposing offense for the rest of the way. I made a note here. So Cleveland had really 2 good drives against us the entire game. Their first opening drive went for 73 yards and a touchdown. They had nothing going besides that in the first half, and then in the second half, their other touchdown drive was 61 yards. And the next longest drive they had was 32 yards, and that was right before the end of the half where they just ran out of time. The clock expired. So the defense really, really locked in besides those 2 drives. And I mean, if you're going to give up 2 drives per game to an offense, you would easily take that. And I think they were really helped by, I thought, the offense. The offense didn't turn the ball over. Brett Kern did a great job of pinning them deep, one of them, which led to a safety. So I think as long as our offense can take care of the ball, not put our defenses in bad situations to only have a short field to defend, we're going to have a tough defense to score on, I think.
I agree. And
if the offense has that long field, we're going to be a tough defense to score on if you have to go a long way. I guess is what I
definitely like that. And I will say this. First off, I have mentioned this before. Brett Kern is one heck of a weapon to have. I mean, the punt on the safety, 70-yard punt. A 70-yard punt, and downed it at about the 3, if I'm not mistaken. It was either the 4 or the 3-yard line.
And they didn't, the special teams, our coverage team, didn't even stop it. The ball just rolled to a dead stop, didn't it? Am I remembering that right? Yeah. And it just rolled and died at the 3. It's perfect.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. And that's what you're supposed to do. Everybody gets around it just to make sure it doesn't go into the end zone. But absolutely, I mean, rolled to a complete stop, and it stopped at the 3-yard line. And then I believe there was another penalty that was half the distance to the goal, which put them at about the 1.5-yard line. So that helped in that safety as well. So, yeah, I think a lot of things, especially, with defense and then with the penalties and also the injury, Greg Robinson doing that stupid, inexplicable act, kicking Kenny Vaccaro, got himself kicked out. And then the backup offensive lineman got hurt as well. So, I mean, we feasted on their offensive line, which is what you're supposed to do.
Do you like that fist bump that Vrabel gave? They showed him do this or shake his fist immediately after he was doing that when their player got ejected.
I did notice that. That was kind of cool.
I thought it was hilarious, and I think I heard somebody talk about this, that that's a legitimate out coaching the other coach strategy. I mean, you teach discipline, you teach to kind of be chippy, but don't be egregious with hitting somebody in the face, much less kicking somebody in the head with your foot. And just to keep your cool, keep your composure. Yeah, they'll allow some pushing and shoving, but hey, you got to think about the team first and the fouls that you're going to be committing. And we baited Cleveland into 3 or 4 personal fouls, maybe more.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. I mean, think about this: 18 penalties, 182 yards worth. That is extremely undisciplined football. You cannot win a game that way. I mean, no matter how prolific or high octane your offense may be, 18 penalties is still 18 penalties. I've never heard of that many penalties in a game, and that is something that hasn't happened, I want to say, in over 20-some years, that many type of penalties, if not more, if my history is correct. And I mean, a lot, and I want to say when the Titans were on the field offensively, they were in third down situations, and they could have easily have been having to punt or kick field goals. At least 4 or 5 penalties resulting in first downs that kept our drives going.
Yeah. I did have a stat. We had, looking at the team stats, they're pretty similar. We're very similar in yards, similar in first downs. Yeah, okay, so we had 21 first downs, and 6 of them came from penalties. Penalties, I don't know if those were on third downs. Some of them probably were, but
yeah, quite a few of those penalties were on third downs. And I mean, the thing about that was, and the Titans, they had about 4 or 5 penalties that result in first down. The Tennessee Titans alone only had, if I'm not, 6 penalties. 6 penalties, 54 yards for the game.
Yeah.
The Browns had 3 times more of the penalties. We were only outgained by like 7 yards. And, now offensively, and we're going to talk about this, we've got to clean up on third down. We were only 2 for 10 on third down. They were 1 for 10 on third down. And a lot of those times we forced them into second and third and long situations. So, you had a lot of 3rd and 13. You had a lot of 3rd and 18.
And they backed themselves up too with penalties. So they forced that on themselves.
Absolutely. And now on the offensive side of the ball, I think, there was a lot to be desired, but I think we did enough offensively to take care of business. Marcus, very impressive, 14 to 24, 248 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, which I'll take that 10 times out of 10, with that.
Like, even if you're a critic and a skeptic of Mariota, you can't look at this game and not think this is a step for him. This is a step in the right direction. This is good for him. Like, I've seen people like nitpicking some of his throws. Like, he missed a couple throws. Yeah, big deal. But overall, what we got from Mariota this game is a positive thing to be taking week 1 and into the rest of the season.
Absolutely, because you know what? To be honest, there were a couple of throws I did pick that too. I'm not going to lie about that because I have said it. I have said it before, and I'll say it again. I can't apologize for him anymore. It's time for him to make some plays, but he did make some plays when it was necessary. The screen pass to Derrick Henry, perfect setup play. The passes to A.J. Brown, on the money, and. We'll talk A.J. Brown in just a bit, but I think he got better as the game went on, especially in the second half. And I think if Marcus could just have a few complete games, first and second half, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit for them. So I just think that with Marcus, he's got to play within himself. Now, there were a few times with the sacks he held on a bit too long, and there was some issue with the offensive line. But I think after about the first quarter and a half, the offensive line settled down and did pretty well at the end.
Yeah, I thought the offensive line played very well for the most part. You look at the total number of sacks. It says 4, but really it was 3. If you remember. At the end of the game, Mariota rolled out and they just gave himself up on purpose to keep the clock going. I don't know what the plan, if that was supposed to be the plan or not. So legitimately, they gave up 3 sacks. And I didn't really hear anything from Jamil Douglas or Dennis Kelly. I know Dennis Kelly gave up a sack, maybe 2 to Myles Garrett, but he had to have expected. You can't expect to hold up Myles Garrett for an entire game.
That's very difficult.
Yeah, but I didn't. People were worried about Jamil Douglas too at right guard, and I didn't notice him. And if I didn't notice him on the offensive line, that probably means they're doing a good job.
Usually, if there's a particular offensive lineman you don't hear their name, that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah,
you don't want to be the offensive lineman they keep talking about in the bad light. So sometimes no news is good news, and Myles Garrett's going to get his. We all know that. Myles Garrett had 13 and a half sacks last year. And, the good thing about that is he was really the only one that really caused any damage. You didn't really hear much from Olivier Vernon. You didn't really hear anything from Sheldon Richardson except for a penalty or 2. So I think the offensive line did a solid job. They can get better. And right now I think Jamil Douglas looked like he's going to stick for a moment. So, again, I think it was solid. Could be better. But all in all, I'll give this offensive line a solid B.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I would, I'm a lenient grader. I'm a lenient teacher. So I would give that a B+. I would round up to a B+.
Okay.
Only because I'm a nicer grader than you. I don't have any good rational reasons. But no, I really was. I was very pleased with the offensive line. And I mean, we mentioned this last time we did a video together. The offensive line performance in week 2 against the Texans last year, against that front 7, we had 2 non-starters come in, and they did fine. And we had Gabbert playing quarterback, and we won that game. So yeah, great adjustments by J-Rob, and not J-Rob, maybe J-Rob, but Coach Vrabel and the other coaches.
Hey, I know, because sometimes J-Rob can be like a coach too. And I mean, and that's something that I really do like about this team is that, you see the good teams not only make adjustments week to week, but they're making adjustments game to game. And this team seems like they're making adjustments not just quarter to quarter, but drive to drive. They're making adjustments. I mean, you have the technology there to see what's going on and make adjustments within the game. And they seem to be doing that, which is very helpful. And I do have to say, what a wonderful day it was to welcome back Delanie Walker.
Yes.
And I wore the 82 jersey on Sunday. And I was, and shout outs to the Titans fan club of Memphis for welcoming me back home. I wore the jersey to the party, and some other fans were telling me, man, you brought Delanie Walker luck with that jersey. I said, I may have to keep wearing this one every now and then.
You better. You're not gonna wear that on a Sunday.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm definitely going to wear it again. Without a doubt, I don't know which one I'm going to choose, my jersey or Delanie. So, I mean, it was great to see Delanie get back 5 catches, 55 yards, 2 TDs. Dude, he helped dig the hole up under them. And I think he may have started off with one of the sound bites of the year.
Oh, yeah. I love that. You still got to play football, man.
Hey,
the Browns are who we thought they were.
Hey, and that's why you take the field. Rest in heaven, Dennis Green. That was incredible. Now, I know there are probably some people out there that will think, oh, no, the Titans are getting a little ahead of themselves. No, let's not take it out of context.
We are.
It wasn't – I don't think – that was not necessarily saying, hey, the Titans deserve respect. He's basically saying, look, the Browns are the Cleveland Browns. They still got to play the game. Yeah. You still got to play the game. You can't, just say, you know what, this is a victory, because it really did seem, and I don't mean to get off on a tangent, it did seem like the Browns just got there and thought, oh, we got this game won and everything, because you hear Baker Mayfield saying, I know they're going to throw us in the trash. And you hear Jarvis Landry basically getting snippy, and basically the right word is not coming to my mouth right quick, but you could tell he kind of cut off some reporters when they were asking simple questions. And that means they were truly believing their own hype. And you know what happens when you believe your own hype, somebody's gonna chop you down. And that's what happened.
And to be fair to Cleveland, though, I think a lot of that hype it was media generated, and I think a lot of the fans kind of bought into the hype as well. But like you said, I think the players themselves kind of started believing it. But I think it did, whenever people say, oh, the Cleveland players were hyping themselves up this whole time, and now look at them, I feel like that was like a media hyped up thing, and I agree at the same time.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it would seem like, with the the media really did hype them up, because you could hear it, and I know I'm a little early on this, you could hear it on all the shows. They did not talk none about how well the Titans played and how the Titans won.
Oh, yeah. We knew they wouldn't. I mean,
and of course not. Of course not. With the exception of, Stephen A. did it a little bit. And Good Morning Football, which I love that show to death. I watch it every morning. They're the only show that actually will give the Titans some love. They always give Titans love. And, all the other shows were just making excuses of how the Browns didn't do this, the Browns didn't do that, and not once say, you know what? That other football team over there in blue, they're pretty darn good. They were really good. They're not a pushover. And they didn't do that. So, you had that. You had OBJ wearing a $350,000 watch on the field. Who
and he's
does
planning on
that?
wearing it again. He's planning on keeping on wearing it. Well, like, yeah, and he even said, like, I'm just about football, man. Why do we have to make this about something else? Yeah, you're the one making it about something else. You're wearing the thing that nobody else is wearing.
I have said this about OBJ. A lot of times with pictures and things that he does, he's crying for attention. I mean, I want to say it was some type of NFL gala, and he was wearing like the short sleeve tuxedo with the kilt and everything, taking pictures. I just kept thinking, this dude is crying for attention. He is begging for the spotlight. And, I'm sorry. When you do stuff like that, what do you expect all of us to do? How do you expect us to take it? It's about football. No, it's obviously about something else. You're wearing $350,000 on your wrist.
It's about you, bro. It's about you.
I would not spend no $350,000 on a watch. I'm sorry. Call me cheap if you want. And I mean, Landry gets snippy. Yeah, it was about y'all. But I'm sorry to get off on a tangent, everybody.
Right.
I am sorry.
Yeah, it was a kind of a big story. People were talking about it. Yeah, I know it's. Whatever. Let's just get back to the Titans offense here.
Yes.
So I was going to say like not only Delanie Walker, just the huge impact player that he is, and just having him on the field just like does so much for us. And Mariota, obviously in particular, like they picked up right where they left off in 2017, last time Walker played a full game for us. And then now, lo and behold, it looks like we have a second impact player. How about A.J. Brown's rookie debut, 3 catches for 100 yards? Like, Chris, did you see him running with the football in the open field? We've got to get this guy the football every single game, somehow, some way.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the NFL, A.J. Brown.
You know who got welcome to the NFL? That dude that he stiff-armed and then just buried his head in the grass. That was his welcome to the NFL moment. I don't even know who that was.
I don't even know who that was either. It doesn't really matter at this point. That's a doink. Yeah. So, I mean, A.J. Brown, very, very impressive. And the thing about it was, I mean, physical to the catch point. Very physical to the catch point. And, he said it himself. He said, man, in college, like I think it was like a long 55-yard gain, I want to say. He said if it was college, he would have scored. He would have scored on that long play. And I think what happened with that, and he really probably could have scored if he had kept his line of trajectory toward the end zone. He kind of cut inside. I think he was trying to shake another guy. But, I mean, oh, my goodness. And, I mean, A.J. Brown, love it. Very impressive. Can't wait to see what he continues to do. And, and Delanie did his thing. And we did all of this without Adam Humphries or Corey Davis.
I was going to say between them, 1 catch for 5 yards. Adam Humphries converted Adam Humphries, I remember that catch because it seemed like a big moment at the time. I forgot if we got points out of the drive, but it was like a 3rd and short and a little whatever route to the sideline, and Adam Humphries picked that up, and I was like, yes, that's exactly what you're here for, man. But nothing for Corey Davis. You think that was more of him not being in the game plan as much, or just Cleveland really trying to lock him down, thinking that, hey, that's their main big receiving threat? Denzel Ward's a good corner, so he could have had a lot to do with that.
And I think I will give some credit to Denzel Ward. I think Denzel Ward did have a little bit to do with that. At the same time, I mean, A.J. Brown's hot. It was getting hot. Delanie obviously did his thing. There was one particular play that Marcus had. I think it was a deep cross. Corey should have went up and got that. You got to go up and get that. You got to go up and get that.
I think I know what play you're talking about. I felt like it was kind of high.
Like it was a little high.
Like Mario didn't have to throw it that high. Like he had a step or a half step on the man covering him, and like if that ball's on the money, that's a catch all day for Davis.
And I have to go back and really dissect that play a little bit further, but it looked like it was one Corey Davis could have kind of took a little hop to go get. But
we've seen him do it before.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are probably going to say, well, A.J. Brown's the number 1 now. let's pump your brakes, ladies and gentlemen.
Pump the
Corey
brakes.
Davis is still the number one guy on this team, and he's going to get his. Now,
Dude, he is, man. And you saw how much of a team player he was, though. Dude, he was on the Henry screen. He was 70 yards down the field throwing the final block, which, I mean, Henry might have been able to juke him out or stiff arm him or whatever, but just he didn't have to. It was just a clear run to the end zone. And Corey Davis, because that defender would have affected the play, so Corey Davis was fantastic making that block. And he made a block for A.J. Brown on one of his catches.
That was what I was just about to mention. That was that, Corey kind of put a little bit of a block and got his hands up so that he didn't get called for a penalty. So yeah, I mean, Corey Davis made impact in other ways, and you see that a lot. Is that sometimes you may not always see it on the box score, but you can affect the game in other ways. Corey did do that. He'll eventually get his.
Yeah, and I was going to say on that second block, did you see? You got to go back and watch the replay of Corey Davis from the other side. So he's on the opposite side of the field from when you're watching it. A.J. Brown makes the catch, and Corey Davis, he runs in front of the defender that was guarding him, I think, and just to get the angle to where it wouldn't be a penalty if he blocked him. Like he was hustling to make that block. And I think these two guys can complement each other really well. I mean, they're dogs. Like they love getting physical. I think Corey Davis has got a little bit more speed than Brown, but Brown's got a little bit more strength. And yeah, if corners want to play those receivers physical, by all means, good luck, because I think we can get both of these guys going.
And I mean, and that's the thing about it, is that this stable of weapons, you can't just pinpoint and take one away, because it's basically going to be pick your poison. Now, with Delanie Walker, you're thinking the next team is going to say, okay, you know what? We're going to try to take Walker away and maybe try to take Henry out of the game. Well, if you do that, then you're leaving AJ one-on-one. You're leaving Corey one-on-one. You're going to let Adam Humphries eat up the middle of the field. So it's going to be a pick your poison type of situation. And, Marcus, and if Marcus has time, he's going to have a field day with that.
Yeah. And it was exactly. It was so encouraging. Like we thought, Corey Davis, Tajay Sharp, we'd probably get contributions from them, but it was the guys that haven't been with us, like A.J. Brown and Delanie Walker, coming in and making the biggest impact in the passing game. And so once we get back reliable guys like Corey Davis, I don't know who else. I guess, did I say Tajay Sharp? I don't know how much he's going to factor in, but I think he's good for depth reasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's going to be great having all those targets for Mariota to pick from, and yeah, it's going to be, like you said, a pick your poison kind of thing going for us. I also real quick, I want to throw in Henry because I know a lot of people were like, is he going to be back to form like he was in the second half of the season? I don't think he slowed down. I think he picked up right where he left off. I saw him running hard, especially in the second half. It took him a while for him to get going, but I mean, he's playing physical. He bounces those runs to the outside, gets a stiff arm going, and there he goes, trucking down the sidelines. And we saw all of that.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that, because the one thing about Derrick Henry, and he proved it to me last year, because I made him want to prove it, and he did exactly that. He stepped up in a major way, and I like the fact that with the running game, they stuck with it. They did not quit on the running game. They stuck with it. 19 carries, 84 yards, and even though he didn't make it over the century mark, he was still very, very effective.
Yeah, and that's something that I felt like Cleveland. I've seen people be critical of Cleveland for, was that the game was still close through the first three quarters, but you had Baker back there throwing the ball a whole lot, when you've got Nick Chubb back there, who had been having a decent game. He was getting yards against us, and then they just kind of quit that strategy, or didn't quit. They just weren't consistent with giving him the ball. I felt like I think he had 17 carries for 17 or 70 so yards. If my phone will connect real quick. Look at that. Yeah, 17 carries, 75 yards. And I think he got like 4 straight carries at the very end of the game just to kind of help run out the clock when the game was already decided. So I thought them two could have been a lot more run based throughout the course of the game until the Titans started pulling away. Anyway, I was gonna say something else about Davis. Anyway, welcome back, Chris.
Yeah,
I was talking about how Cleveland, I felt like got away from the run game a little bit too soon, or just wasn't consistent with it whenever the game was still very much within reach. And Nick Chubb was a good back, and it's not like he was getting shut down by us. He was getting yards here and there, gashing us for 5-6 yard gains. But they kept calling pass plays for Baker because they have so many weapons to use. I felt like they almost felt compelled. Hey, we got Odell Beckham. Let's drop a play. Let's get him the ball. Let's get Landry the ball. And they forgot, oh yeah, what about Nick Chubb back here?
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, Nick Chubb, 16 carries, 74 yards. He was messing us up a bit, and I agree with you. I think they did get away with that, and I apologize, y'all. My battery was getting kind of low, so I need to charge it up. But but I got it on charge now, so we're good. But yeah, I mean, Nick Chubb was getting 5-6 yards of gas, so our run defense does need some work. But I agree. I think they kind of got away from what was working, trying to make sure OBJ is happy and Landry is happy and things like that. And you can't win football games like that. You can't be trying to make everybody happy. You're trying to win ball games. And if Nick Chubb is putting in work, doing what he's supposed to do, Dag Rabbit, get him the ball, and things like that, and let him do his thing. And everything else fall into place. So, yeah, I think Cleveland shot themselves in the foot by doing that.
Yeah, I think it's part of like week 1 growing pains. You have some new faces. You got a new head coach calling all the shots as well as calling the plays on offense. Obviously, Odell Beckham back there in his first year. So if you're a Cleveland fan, if I were a Cleveland fan, I would not be down. I mean, obviously this game probably really sucked for you to watch with all the anticipation, but I think Cleveland's going to still be fine this year. I mean, I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender or anything, but I think they're taking the steps in the right direction. And I think they're going to win some games this year for sure. I mean, this crazy stuff happens in week 1. And as a Titans fan, I can tell you firsthand, 2015, we won in Tampa Bay, Mariota's rookie year, 42-14. It was like 35-7 or something at halftime. And we ended up winning 2 other games that year. We went 3-13. So it's hard to really gauge anything from week 1. And I think, Baker's fine. I think he's a level-headed guy. He's going to rally the troops, going to correct the mistakes. You can't commit 18 penalties every week, so that's not going to happen again.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
So Browns are going to be fine. I think the Titans caught him at a good time, to be honest.
I think the Browns, they have a good team. They are going to have to try to fix their offensive line, and that is going to be a problem. But other than that, I think the Browns are, they're still a good football team. I think they're still going to win 9-10 games and things like that. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But and the dog pound was sick loud and everything. And I mean, that place is going to it's going to be rocking even more as the season go on. They got the Jets next week on Monday night. So I think they're going to basically say, look, we're going to redeem ourselves on Monday night. I could really see that happening.
Yeah.
You're going to be hearing from the Browns later.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think they're going to beat some of probably the better teams in the league. I can see them competing still in the AFC North, even though Baltimore looked pretty incredible, given that they were playing the Dolphins. Putting up 59 points. Good grief. But yeah, I wouldn't. It's not panic time at all in Cleveland.
Now we'll say this: Baltimore looked pretty darn good, and oh my God.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't play them this year as the Titans.
Hollywood Brown, that dude is fast.
Yes, very fast.
Not regular. He's not regular fast. He is like Usain Bolt fast. And I mean, him and Lamar Jackson are going to give a lot of teams trouble all year long. Thank God we don't have to play.
Yeah, I was super impressed with Lamar Jackson's arm strength. He looked like Michael Vick in one of his passes to Hollywood Brown. He just flicks his wrists, and the ball just launches 60 yards down the field right in the breadbasket. Like, that dude's arm is strong. That was very impressive. Like, yeah, he's no running back. He's no receiver. That man is a quarterback. Let him throw some passes.
He's a quarterback. That much is true.
Gotten better.
Now, I'm gonna have to put a damper on a particular Browns fan who, basically messed himself up and shamed the Browns organization with when Malcolm Butler had his pick six, and they were celebrating a little bit with a Titan fan that was in the end zone, and the Brown fan just pouring beer all over Logan Ryan and everything, and Logan's like, look, that doesn't need to be in football or anything like that. And luckily enough, news came out that fan has been banned indefinitely from First Energy Stadium. So first of all, I give kudos to the Browns organization, kudos to the NFLPA for going into that. They made the right move with that. That type of behavior does not belong on a football field or in a stadium by anybody. You're supposed to respect all fans, no matter who you cheer for. And something like that is uncalled for. You don't waste money like that. You drink the beer.
You chug that, man. I don't care how pissed off you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, agreed. Sucks for that guy. But, so getting back to the Titans and kind of, feeling good and excited about this win. But I do want to say, the complexion of the NFL across all teams changes so much over the course of the season. And I want to point out, remember even last year, the Titans started out 3-1. We beat Philadelphia in overtime. It feels like we're at an all-time high in years. The Texans are stumbling out of the gate to 1-3. It looks like, is what's their coach's name? Bill O'Brien? What can't I think of his name? Yeah, is he on the hot seat? Is he going to make it through? The Texans look like their season's crashing and burning. No, lo and behold, by December, Texans clinch the division and the Titans miss out on the playoffs. So it's good to feel good about this first win, winning by 30 points. But yeah, let's just temper the expectations. This is a week-to-week league, and we could be down in the dumps if Indianapolis comes to town and beats us for McNair and Eddie George's jersey retirement tribute thing. So yeah, let's just enjoy this. But yeah, we gotta get ready to play next week too.
Absolutely. And I said this on Jared and the GM. I called in earlier today,
nice.
And I said,
"Why are you listening to that show, man? Come on, 104.5 is where it's at."
I try to listen to both. Give everybody some love. But I said on there, yes, getting this victory over the Browns, it's great. It's good to be 1-0. But given me, I used to play high school football. Time to put that in the past. You enjoy it that day, but the very next day, it doesn't exist anymore. And now it's time to move on to the Indianapolis Colts, because we've been in this situation before. Came off of a big high of a win and then lay an egg the next week. And I mean, emotions are going to be high. The Colts lost to the Chargers the other day, lost to them in overtime, and they're going to be coming in here wanting to ruin this day, ruin this big day for the Tennessee Titans. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, if you think just because Andrew Luck is gone that the Colts are just going to lay down,
no.
If that's what you think, and if that's what you think is going to happen, you are going to be sadly disappointed. This Colts team is no pushover. Jacoby Brissett, and I know we're getting a little bit into the Colts a bit. Jacoby Brissett,
no slouch,
pretty decent job in that game against the Chargers.
He's starting caliber in my eyes. Yeah.
I mean, a very, very good quarterback. He of course he's not elite. He is not on that elite status, but he could be a very serviceable quarterback. And I mean, the Colts basically believe in him because they just gave him a 2-year, $30 million contract extension. So they obviously believe. And they still got T.Y. They still got Marlon Mack. They brought in Funches, Ebron, Jack Doyle.
Funches broke his collarbone. I think he's out for the year.
Oh, never mind with that. But you still got T.Y. Hilton to deal with.
Yeah, they got weapons.
They still have weapons, and they still have that offensive line. So
yeah, and I think unlike the Browns too, that this team is disciplined. They have composure. They've got better coaching than the Browns. So don't expect to be helped up by penalties or dumb turnovers. You got to come ready to play a football game first and foremost. But yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we have got to come ready to play because, I mean, Marlon Mack is faster than you think. He is a very, very slippery back out of the backfield. He can catch passes out of the backfield. You got Nyheim Hines, who's pretty fast as well. I mean, you got T.Y. Hilton, and I don't even think they've unleashed Paris Campbell yet, the draft pick out of Ohio State. So you got them. You got Eric Ebron and Jack Doyle. So we're going to have to find a way to cover these tight ends because in the past, tight ends have been an Achilles heel.
They have. Yeah.
And, defensively, they're better. Darius Leonard is going to be an all-pro linebacker.
He should have been last year, if he already wasn't. But, yeah.
This is going to be a matchup of probably two of the best young linebacking cores in the league. I mean, you got Leonard on one side. You got Evans and Brown with us. And it's going to be nice. It's going to be an all drag out fight.
It's going to be a physical, tough game, a gritty game. I'm expecting. I still feel like it could go either way. For some reason, Andrew Luck was always a bad matchup for us, but for some reason, our offense is somehow a bad matchup against the Colts defense, and it has been for years. I feel like we always struggle to put up points against them, no matter who they have back there. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm on like a 1 minute warning with my tape, so we need to wrap this up.
Yeah, let's do that.
So excited about the Titans win, and I did want to say, with Lawan's suspension, I was thinking, these first 4 games through a suspension, if we could come out at worst 2-2 and still have a healthy Mariota, I think that we'd be okay. We'd be in okay shape for the rest of the year, getting Lawan back in the lineup because I think he's the most crucial piece to the offensive line. And hey, we're off to a good start on that. We could go 2-0, we could go 3-0 without Lawan. That would be huge.
I agree, and I mean, I think if we could get this win with Indianapolis, and I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse or anything, we could be off to one heck of a start because I mean the stars are aligning. I mean, you got the Colts here. The Jags, Nick Foles is out. He won't be returning until probably our second matchup. Yeah. So we probably got Gardner Minshew starting, and Josh Dobbs is backing him up. And obviously Atlanta, we don't know what they're going to look like, which I think that's going to be the toughest of the 4. But
yeah, all right, we got to wrap it up. Sorry, man, my tape is literally running out. Yeah, but I'm with you. These first 4 teams, they had tough front sevens, so getting through them without Lawan. That would be so nice. It'd be such a nice start to the season. But yeah, thanks guys for joining us. Tighten up, enjoy this win. We're looking forward to Indianapolis next. And thanks, Chris, for joining us. Looking forward to more of your videos coming out soon. And yeah, go Titans until the next video. See ya.
Holla.